How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Huddle YouTube channel, and I just want to make a quick little video. The NFL season starts in like 5 days on Thursday when the Buffalo Bills take on the LA Rams for the start off and kick off this 2022-2023 NFL season. And I was in my sports management class on Thursday, this past Thursday, and I was watching a video about San Francisco sports, and it was talking with the personal director or one of the guys who runs the football operations at the 49ers. And he was telling a story about how Bill Walsh told him a quote, and it immediately became one of my favorite quotes. And I just thought I'd read it out to you guys and talk about it a little bit real quick, nothing too long. I'm not trying to lecture you guys. I just thought this is a real cool quote that I wanted to give to you from one of the best coaches in 49ers history. So the quote goes, "When you're doing good, people think you're better than you are. When you're doing bad, people think you're worse than you are." Now, that kind of seems obvious, like, like people are going to overreact to things. But it's specifically good for when it comes to, like, sports and when people are super passionate about something. And when we look at teams that are super good or super bad, like, going into the season, you might think, like, oh, the Texans are terrible. What is this guy doing? But, like, at the same time, you need to understand that these guys know more than you do. Most likely, like 99% of people, if they went and did the job these guys are doing with all their managing, all their handling, they're going to do it better than the normal football fan, even if they think they're knowing, in hindsight, they know what the better option would have been. So, as someone who's a Buffalo sports fan, which I've made mention a lot of times, I am currently at both ends of the spectrum, right? So, when Brandon Beane and them took over the Bills, they sucked. They hadn't made the playoffs in my lifetime. I was not born the last time they made the playoffs. Then they make the playoffs, and now everyone praises them. They're the best, regime in the NFL right now. They're the best front office. They're one of the best coaching staffs. They built one of the best teams, the Super Bowl favorites. And people are going to go even further, like, oh, they're one of the best GM combos in the Buffalo Bills history, or they're one of the best GM combos of all time, or GM coach combos of all time. And people will say that because they're a really good team right now. I haven't personally heard that, but I'm sure some people out there hold those beliefs with how passionate every fan base, especially the Bills fan base, can be. So just because they're good, everyone's going to blow them up right now. Are they the best? Maybe. They could be, but I don't think they see themselves as the best, and they're just doing a really good job. On the other side, I'm a Buffalo Sabres fan, and for those, I'm going to bring hockey into this real quick, even though it's a football YouTube channel. The Sabres have been awful for almost as long as the Bills have. Since 2006, I think I would put my money on that would be the last good season. I was 5 years old. I don't remember that much. They haven't made the playoffs since I've been cognitively being able to pay attention and be aware of how the game is played. Like, at that point, I've been playing hockey for 3 years, but I'm not as aware as I am now. They have not been good. They have not made the playoffs they have the record now for the longest playoff drought in hockey history. And every regime that came up, everyone was like, oh, they're so terrible, they're the worst. Every move they make is terrible. I could do better I can do better blindfolded. What are they doing? This and that. Why are they letting this guy go? Why are they doing this? They're so terrible, they're the worst ever. They're not. They're doing better than I or anybody else would be in that situation where they have to balance AHL contracts, NHL contracts, scouting in the pros, scouting the amateurs, scouting high schoolers, scouting preteens. It's just hockey and football and all the major sports. These guys put hours and hours and hours of time away from their families to do what they're doing. And sometimes they're not as good as the other guys, but they're still doing it in the professional league. They still have jobs there. And even though maybe it's a situation where you have to know the right guys to get into the business, most of these people who go to normal jobs and they come back and watch the games for 4 hours, in football's case, on Sundays, and then think, oh, what are they doing? They're doing this. This guy sucks. Why did we ever sign him? Why did we ever draft him? Why did we ever trade for him? And then somebody else we got rid of is doing good on another team. Oh, why did we get rid of him? Why didn't we pay him? It's a situation where you have to look at it and be like, these guys are still, they're not, even though they might be bad at the moment, they're not the worst ever. And you need to think about it as before you go in and start criticizing everybody this season, really look at it and be like, these guys, maybe they're not doing the best job right now, this team isn't that great, but they're not the worst. No one in the league right now is probably the worst. Maybe Urban Meyer. I'll give you Urban Meyer last season, and that might still be an overreaction. When you're doing bad, people think you're the worst. That might be an overreaction. But all these guys, you might be mad at how the Jags are running it with Trent Baalke and Shad Khan, or you might think that the the Patriots with Belichick, he's losing it, and it was only because of Brady. It's only because they're on a bad downswing right now. You can't overreact to everything you see, and that's not going to matter because I have a Twitter and I see what happens on there. But overreactions, you just need to temper it. As soon as one thing goes one way and one thing goes the other, it just swings opposite. And that's what this quote is, and I thought I kind of liked it as a quote. So I thought I'd talk about it, give an example of how my fandom with Bills and Sabres kind of plays into both sides of this quote. And just to say, temper expectations, don't go too outrageous, this is how hot takes are made, and everyone likes hot takes, but at the same time, if you're just having water cooler conversation, no sense in making an argument over these kind of things if, you know what, they're not actually the worst, they're not actually the best, and you just give them time, it'll even out into like an easy median. So, just wanted to discuss one of my favorite quotes I heard recently, and thought I'd share that and share my opinions on it. So, enjoy football this Thursday. I'll probably have something coming out about that game, maybe some game predictions or something like that. I have no idea. But until then, see you next time.